Hi, kiddos. Merry December. It's getting closer to Christmas. In fact, tomorrow, the 15th, we're kicking off the 12 stories of Christmas. We're going to have a lot of fun, and the kickoff's going to be fun. So come on back tomorrow, and you'll see the beginning of the 12 days of Christmas. Well, kiddos, today we're going to read a story that's getting into the Christmas stories, but it's special because Grandpa Ken lives in Phoenix, and they call Phoenix the Valley of the Sun. And this book is Santa is Coming to the Valley of the Sun. Yeah, we thought that would be a good way. Really, Barkley is the one over here. He's the guy that figured out this would be a good one to read for the just before the 13th. Well, boomed Santa, we have all the children from the Valley of the Sun been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop and Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of the Valley of the Sun had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. You know what that's like, kiddos? Like this. Mostly? Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we better get those presents loaded up. Okay, look at that, see? Yeah. There's old Santa looking at all those letters. Yeah, all those letters. Even though the sack of presents was really, really, really big and the elves were really, really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it into Santa's sleigh. And how they managed to fit such a big sack onto one little sleigh, even they didn't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeers is missing. What? One of the reindeers is missing? Missing? Which reindeer is it? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him and called him, but young reindeer just strode up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa gnaw and tapped in the coordinates for the Valley of the Sun. This will guide us in no time. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Look at the reindeer. Yep, he's just crunching away on his carrots, isn't he? Yep. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these presents delivered to everybody in the Valley of the Sun. Santa's sleigh flew over the starry night, heading south across the Arctic Ocean. And on they flew to the wintry air. They're crossing over Canada in the wink of an eye. The sleigh was flying above the Boise and past Salt Lake, and the youngest reindeer was very excited. He had been away from the North Pole before, never, ever, ever. See, look at their Santa and his sleigh and his reindeer. and the youngest reindeer had never been away from the North Pole. Then they just began to go over the Grand Canyon National Park. That's a great place, kiddos, when suddenly they ran to a thick fog and they couldn't see anything. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, and Santa Nav is a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars at all in this fog. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Oh no, Santa was lost? Then, through the foggy blanket, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Who do you think that old reindeer was with the red nose, kiddos? Huh? What do you think? Ding, dong. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells. Oh, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. Whoa, the youngest reindeer. Sometimes the youngest person is the one to make the right decision. Whoa! Cried Santa, pulling as straight as going on. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing. Dong, dong. Well done, young reindeer, he shouted cheerfully. It must be the bells of St. Mary's Basilica. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming. Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the fog. You have arrived, said the Santa Nav unhelpfully. I think so. You've arrived after the crunch. Finally, when the fog had lifted, Santa discovered where they were. They were stuck right on the top of a Christmas tree at the outlets of Anthem, which is a mall outside. And it's the biggest tree around. And they ran right into it. Yeah. The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the Christmas tree and Santa steered them safely. And down he went into this area. Suddenly, luckily there was no real damage done, he looked at the sleigh and the package had all been jumbled up, but Santa quickly put the presents back in order. All right, said Santa, thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are, and don't worry, kids, Santa is coming. See, they stopped and made sure everything was okay. Yeah, and that Santa was okay and the reindeer were okay. Yeah, you got to check your reindeer after a crash. Then he flew, and in the house, Santa delved inside his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas tree and carefully filled the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of the Valley of the Sun had left out a plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie and a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. Oh, he didn't eat the carrots? Wonder what the carrots were for. What do you think, kiddos? Huh? Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Valley of the Sun list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as it's ever been. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of crunchy carrots. That's right, kiddos. Santa divided the carrots among all the reindeer. "Good job," he said, pulling the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. You know why, kiddos, right? He was busy munching. Then it was time to set off for the next house, the next town, and Santa was willing to go all the way back to the North Pole, and he'd be done by tomorrow. But then, as he left, he went, "Ho, ho, ho, to the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix." Thanks, kiddos. This is just a good, fun book because I'm in Phoenix and I wanted to read it to the local kids here in the school. So that's for Cindy, and I just wanted to let her know. And please, we're going to kick off the 12 stories of Christmas tomorrow. So come back and join us and tell your kiddo friends. Grandpa Ken loves you and he's always lonely, and Barkley misses you when you're not here. Have a great day, kiddos. Remember, keep smiling, because if you smile, people know you're happy.